Greetings. Welcome to day 2. My apologies. I'm 8 minutes past the announced time, okay? But I'm here. I'm here. It's been a long day, but I made it. I hope everybody is well. Peace. Welcome. How y'all doing on this beautiful Saturday? Welcome to day 2 of Overcoming Addictions. My name is Crystal Bolton, CEO and founder of Nubian-KreativGoddess, and I help women to overcome drug and alcohol addictions by strengthening their self-awareness so that they can break generational curses, heal trauma, and boss up. And that acronym BOSS stands for Building on Self-Sustainability. Okay? Understanding is crucial when it's time to overcome addictions. It's imperative. Okay? Many people feel guilty or ashamed of their addiction, but understanding the science behind it can help empower you to make real change. And that's what we're here to do today, okay? This information applies to both people who are struggling with addiction and their support systems. Peace, welcome. This information can help you understand what your loved ones may be going through and how you can best support them. So if you are on this live and you know somebody who could use this message, please share this live. Share this with somebody who could use this message, this information. Okay, knowledge is a tool for taking control, and my ebook, The Freedom Express, an 8-step guide to kicking addiction to the curb, can be used as a resource to use along your recovery journey. Okay, it's a tool. Everything is a tool. My ebook takes you step by step through actionable tools that you can use and begin to implement right away. And once you understand the science behind addiction, things will begin to really click and stick. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into day 2, understanding addiction and its impact on the brain and the body. Okay, today we'll dive into the science of addiction. I'm no scientist, I'm no medical professional, so I am by no means am I telling you to disregard any medical professional. If you are going through anything, please consult your medical professional. Okay, if you are battling addiction, please consult a licensed medical professional that can assist you with what's best for you. I'm just sharing my experiences, and that is it. Okay. We're gonna just go ahead and take a deep dive into the science of addiction and the impact it has on the mental and physical health. Addiction is more than just a lack of willpower. Some people say, oh, well, they lack the willpower. They're not trying hard enough. And it's not that. It's a complex issue that affects the brain and the body. Let's just take a minute to discuss why addiction takes hold and when it does, what happens, right? Because yesterday we talked briefly about the reward system and how that affects the brain in regards to addiction. So, addiction occurs due to biological, physical, and environmental factors. Peace, welcome. And here are some key reasons why addiction develops, right? So we have brain chemistry and the reward system, which, like I talked about the reward system yesterday. Addiction often begins when substances or behaviors trigger the brain's reward system, releasing chemicals like dopamine. And over time, the brain becomes reliant on these substances or behaviors to feel pleasure, leading to a cycle of dependence. Genetics is another one. Sometimes individuals are genetically predisposed to addiction. My family, addiction is prevalent on both mother and father side, drugs and alcohol. And so I totally get it, even with the reward system, baby, because I knew damn well many times when I was drinking and things and I was sick, I knew I should stop. Baby, you should stop drinking. You seeing doubles. It's time to put it down, but it felt good and you just want more. And sometimes you use it as a tool to not feel that in which you were feeling. You want to feel good. You want to seek that pleasure. And so you continue to consume it, right? But what happens is when you begin to use these substances for that, it makes you more vulnerable to developing addictive behaviors, right? So that leads to psychological factors, right? People who turn to substances or behaviors are often coping with stress, trauma, anxiety, depression, or other mental health issues. And over time, they may use these coping mechanisms repeatedly, leading to dependence. I talked about it in my podcast, You Ain't Gotta Lie to Thrive, now streaming on Spotify. I talked about my beginning of addiction. At the end of the day, I started because I was curious. I was like a young preteen. I was like, oh, what is this? I want to try. And so I tried it, and eventually there was a lot of trauma that was going on, a lot of death in the family, and it began to become something that I began to just go to and use because I didn't know how to process the grief. Is predisposition can be a spiritual blood thing? Are you asking me, is predisposition a spiritual blood? I believe it is, because I think everything is spiritual, right? Like, everything is spiritual. And I know for me, with my addiction, I was being called to heal that within my bloodline. It's a spiritual thing. It is definitely a spiritual thing. What has been your experience with that? I'm sorry. I'm out of it, y'all. I spent like the last 2 hours cooking and cleaning. Then I realized I hadn't eaten anything, and I hadn't even really been drinking any water, and I felt out of it. I was like, let me go take a quick cold shower just to kind of bring myself back. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm a little behind time, but I wouldn't say late, because you know we always on time. But yeah, if you could just elaborate a little bit more on like what your experiences is with that, that'd be awesome. I'm gonna keep going though. Environmental influences is another thing. Family, peer pressure, and socioeconomic factors can play a major role in addiction. When I think about family, again, like I was speaking on that with mine, it's kind of there. Families around, everybody else doing this, and then you do it. Peer pressure, you think about when you're growing up and kids are like, hey, bud, hit the weed, or hit the bottle, you ain't gonna drink it, come on, man. Oh, you a sucker, man, hit the weed, hit the bottle, and so then you feel like you need to do it in order to feel connected or to fit in. And so that can lead to, once you try, it's like too, once you try it, it's like, ooh, you can open Pandora's box. Yes, give me some hydration. I know I need some coconut water, like for real. I'm just drinking this water, but something's better than nothing. But yeah, I definitely hopped in that shower, and I need some coconut water in my life though. I need to make a Trader Joe's run. I was just at Costco, and I should have definitely grabbed some because it's been calling, and I don't know why I didn't. I don't know what I was thinking. But that's okay. We're gonna keep rocking and rolling anyway. But people who grow up in environments where substance use is normalized, or who face significant stressors, are at higher risk. Like I was saying, when I was growing up and all the death and stuff was going on in my family, nobody was talking to the children, at least in my household. I don't know what other family members' households did, but in my household, we weren't taught how to like prepare the grief, not prepare, but to process the grief and things like that. And then the adults, they probably were barely processing it themselves. They still had to show up an adult and take care of kids, and life be lifing. So they were dealing with their own stress on top of everything else, and a lot of times they turned to the substance use, in order to just continue to move forward. Like some days I sit as a parent and I'm like, damn, I wonder how our parents, like, right, how did they do this? This shit is hard. And then I think about it, I'm like, at the end of the day, sometimes I really, really think it was because they stayed lit. Granted, they had support systems and things and prayer, of course, but a lot of the times, they were like, well, let me hit the weed, just bring my damn self down a little bit, because baby, I'm on 100. I need to come back down to 10. You know what I'm saying? Let me hit this bottle, get a little drink in my system, add some sea salt to your water. Yes, definitely. Do I have some sea salt? I have some pink Himalayan salt. Is that? I don't know. Is that the same? I know it's not necessarily the same, but will that suffice? Because yeah, hydration is key. I told myself I was gonna fast today until I made dinner, and then I would eat. And so yeah, I ended up having a little snack a little while ago, and I had some juice, and I haven't drinking much water. I got my gallon that I need to get back on, and I will in a minute. I'm drinking this bottle for now. And survival mode keeps us in a cycle. Them substances was definitely a coping mechanism. Exactly, man. Man, survival mode though is a whole nother beast, and it can really have you in this loop, bruh, for real. And it'd be like, you trying to get out the survival mode, trying to, get your money up, and exo pink Himalayan will do good. Thank you. And so you trying to like get out of the survival mode, but the way the system be set up, it'd be difficult. And so then over here, you like got these addictions, or these, I wouldn't even, some people might not even be addicted, but they still use these substances to kind of cope with it. And so then you just find yourself kind of going back and forth. And so, like I was saying earlier, I assist women to strengthen their self-awareness, because awareness is everything. Awareness is key. So as long as you're aware, like, okay, I'm not, using this as a way to escape from what I'm going through or what I'm feeling, but sometimes I might indulge a little bit just to kind of like, you know, level out a little bit. I'm noticing we need more one-on-one support during these trials we're going through in the community. For real, it's definitely needed. It's definitely needed. I was thinking about creating a community. I mean, it's a lot of different communities already. Um, I don't know. It's still so much. It's still so much more that's needed. What do you have any suggestions? What are your suggestions and thoughts on one-on-one support, and what does that look like for you? Because I agree. I do agree. It's so much going on. We hit at so many different angles. It's like as soon as you think you caught up, it's like, pow, like, no. I know I need more hugs and talks with like-minded individuals, whether family or other people. Exactly. For real. I love to have talks with like-minded people. I don't know. People say I give good hugs. Yeah, not trials, not trails. I got it. Even though I read it wrong, I picked it up. I was like, oh wait, no, that's not what she meant. But yes, definitely more hugs. And like, think about how many people who are not hugged regularly. Like, we're meant to have connection. We're not meant to be isolated and alone. And there's so many people who are suffering in silence, and they are alone, and they don't get hugged daily. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they don't have conversations daily. Like, we're meant to engage with one another. We're not meant to be isolated. And that whole, shut the world down thing where everybody had to be isolated, it took a lot of people out, and a lot of addictions began or got worse. Domestic violence cases rose during that time. It's a cycle. But I want to look at tolerance and withdrawal. So we kind of touched on this yesterday a little bit, and I was talking about how when I quit cold turkey and things like that, I was experiencing certain withdrawal symptoms. And then we talked a little bit about how when you're chasing that high, it's because your tolerance level is higher. It increases because of your usage, right? So as a person continues to use a substance, their body becomes tolerant, meaning they need more in order to achieve the same effect. That's what we're talking about. So if you drink maybe half a pint, and this kind of levels you out, you good. Over time, the more you keep using that same half a pint, you'll get to a point where now you need a pint or more. You need to continue to increase it in order to get that same effect. Okay, so then it leads you to more addiction, and you kind of you dig you a deeper hole, because now you're increasing not just the use of the substance, but the quantity of that substance, and this can lead to physical dependence. And when we try to stop, we experience withdrawal symptoms, which can then reinforce continued use. Because I don't know about you if you've ever experienced it, but I have. I remember a time, and I wasn't trying to quit at this time, but I remember I was driving for Uber. I was driving passengers, and I remember getting on I picked this guy up, and I'm on the freeway, and I'm driving, and all of a sudden I had like this, the best way to describe it was like a wave like sensation in my brain. It felt like it was doing something weird, and I was like, oh hell no. Like, I really try not to freak out, but sometimes shit be on my face. It be on my face. You be knowing like, oh, what's going on. And so I looked at the mirror and him like, okay, he tripping. He ain't tripping. He on his phone or whatever. He not tripping. So I instantly turned off my app. Like, don't give me no new requests. Well, not turned it off, but stop any more incoming requests because I was like, I need to drop this man the fuck off and I need to have a drink. And my hands started, shaking. I started having heart palpitations and I was experiencing withdrawal symptoms. I was like, oh, I have not drank anything today. And so at this point now it's affecting my money because I can't even drive to work to make money because I'm experiencing a withdrawal because my body was so used to intaking alcohol daily that at this point, and I think probably the night before I don't think I had drank a lot before. I don't even know, but I know what I do know for sure is that my body was like, baby, where is it at? Okay, because we ain't about to play with you. You better get off this damn freeway. And I think I had like a 10-minute ride until I dropped him off and I was praying. I was like, God, please keep me, please. I don't want to crash. I was like, I'm about to have a seizure. I was scared as hell. I want to just cultivate a small group of women and men who can support in many ways, whether it's for a talk, hug, financial help, exercise. I love that. You should do it. Because there's so many people who need that. You know what I'm saying? There's so many people who need that. And like I said, a lot of times we suffer in silence. You know what I'm saying? Or we ask for what we need and it's just not provided. Like, because everybody's kind of on their own in their own little bubbles, doing their own little thing. And yeah, it's definitely needed. Yeah, I feel that. Man. But yeah, when we look at reinforcement and habits, addiction can become a cycle of reinforcement. Like we was talking about, when you try to quit or you try to like slow down, you start to experience withdrawal symptoms and things. And so that'll make you kind of like, okay, well, let me just get a little bit in order to not feel that. And then that immediate reward from using puts you back in the cycle of engaging in behavior and substances that put you on a repeat cycle. Okay, and then over time it just becomes a habitual and difficult thing to break, like seriously, and you're constantly in this loop. So the next time you think about somebody, like, why they won't just quit, why they just, trust me, they probably want to, but it's very, very challenging. Okay, it's very challenging. But ultimately, addiction is not just, like I said, a matter of willpower. It really involves physical and psychological changes in the brain that makes quitting challenging. And treatment often requires addressing all of these factors. And a lot of times, especially in the Western world, they're very big on like treating the physical but not the spiritual. Like they'll treat this but not that, and it's holistic. It's mind, body, spirit. So you can't really treat one without all of them, and that's why I love the work that I'm doing, and that's what sets me apart and makes me unique, because I'm not just looking at it from a physical or a mental or psychological perspective. It's spiritual as well. Yeah, I definitely need some salt. I feel like I got cotton mouth or some shit. Like, what's going on? I'm fucking dry. Woo. But yeah, the effects on the brain and the dopamine and reward system we were talking about a little earlier, and we touched on yesterday. If you haven't already checked out yesterday, day one's live series, go ahead and check it out. It was just, a brief overview of like what to expect, but we did talk about a few things that is on my page. You can go check that out. But addiction, it really hijacks the brain's reward system. You know what I'm saying? And when the brain releases dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reinforcement, the response to rewarding stimuli, when the brain releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reinforcement, in response to a rewarding stimuli like food or social interaction. That's what happens with the dopamine. The dopamine is released when you experience something pleasurable. We talked about it yesterday. Food, good ass food. I love some good ass food. Sex, exercise, being out in nature, social interactions. That dopamine is released. But the thing about it, though, is when you are using substances and things of that nature, the dopamine release is like 10 times more than it would be for the natural reward of like exercise or being in nature or some good ass food. Physically, mentally, and physiologically speaking, it is not easy. And like you said, It's a holistic approach. Exactly. Excuse me. It definitely, you have to approach it holistically, or else it's not gonna stick. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna stick. It's not gonna work. And my ebook, The Freedom Express, an 8-step guide to kicking addiction to the curb. In there's a couple of self-assessments, and one of the reasons why I did that is because a lot of times, we want to like not go too far back. We just want to say, oh yeah, I have a thing. I have an addiction to this, or I have an addiction to that. Okay, I just want to move past it, but we don't want to go back. You have to go back in order to move forward. Peace, welcome. You have to go back to move forward because you can't disconnect the two. They're interconnected. And so you have to say, okay, well, let me go back. And one of the things in my ebook it does is it has you go back to think about when it started. Pieces, welcome. Glad you were able to join today. Okay. But yeah, you go back to when that addiction started and why. Sit down and ask yourself these questions like, when did it start? Why did I begin doing it? For me, that was one of the processes I did, and like I said, I speak about it in my podcast, and I spoke about it in my book. Was grief. Grief took me to that place, that dark ass place of addiction, and the more people died, and the more I got angry, and so on and so forth, and it just continued to spiral out. And then we talked about survival mode and all the things that just kind of led to me further burying myself into the addiction. And this Babylon society doesn't help with addiction. It is a society built upon lower nature desires. It feeds people's demons. Exactly. They want you to stay in those lower chakras. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying, though. They want us to stay in those lower chakras and in our physical desires, the lower nature desires. You know what I'm saying? And when we are guided by that, everything is off balance. You know what I'm saying? And we can't do that. That's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And really unplugging from this system as much as possible to. And when I say unplugging, because sometimes people say, well, unplug, well, I gotta work and I got this and I got that. You can still do all those things, but taking intentional time to just be still and be quiet, maybe turning the TV off or turning the radio off. Like, for instance, for a while in my car, I would not play the radio. I would just sit in silence, and one of my sisters would get in the car and she's like, can we turn on music? And I'd be like, no. Like, she was like, oh, you serious, huh? I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. I got used to like riding in silence because I allow my thoughts to kind of come up. But sometimes for some people it's difficult for them to sit in silence because the thoughts come up and they don't want to think about those things that come up. But that's important. It's essential. You cannot move forward without going back, period. But yeah, the brain's neural pathways adapt to the repeated exposure to addictive substances or behaviors, making it more automatic and difficult to control. Okay, and this is due to neuroplasticity, and which strengthens the connections associated with addiction while weakening those involved in self-control and decision making. So, okay, I'm over here drinking all the stuff, right? So now my addiction, my connection to addiction is growing stronger. I need that. While my ability to self-control is getting weaker. I'm not able to limit myself. Like, I would go hard. I know I'm seeing doubles. I know I'm over here swerving, not necessarily in a car, but just on foot. Like, girl, you're not steady, baby. What's going on? But I would continue to go because of the neural pathways and the way it's associated. And I didn't realize that until later after the fact. But even with decision making, like, tell y'all a quick story. I remember one of my coworkers and I had went out to a bar one night, and we said, I got late in my car, was like, here, open the tab. First of all, don't do that. I ain't never been to this place before, and I should have never done that, but that's another story. I had her to my car, like, yeah, open the tab. I don't know what I had allocated for that night's funding to like drink. I was treating my coworker. But we spent a lot, and I just remember drinking. We was drinking top shelf shit, so we did probably spend a nice little bag. But we were drinking tequila, and I think we were drinking Coronas and stuff. And so then at some point, I think we were hungry. We got hungry, and we left. And I think I left my damn card there, and we came back, and then we were drinking some more. All I know is I woke up the next day. Drop some fucking threes in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. If this resonates, communicate with me. Let me know. I woke up the next morning, baby, checked my bank account, and I was like, I think we spent like $350. Not we. I don't know if she spent money too, but I spent like $350, and then I looked back at my bank account like, fuck, let me look at these bills. Like, I don't know what I allocated to go out and spend, but I'm sure it wasn't 350 American dollars at all. At all. And so that ability to make good decisions and to control the self, yeah, it didn't work. It didn't work. You know what I'm saying? And so, I learned though over time, you know what I'm saying? And then I didn't. I learned until I didn't, you know what I'm saying? And it continued, sometimes I would have a little bit more control over it. But when I kind of really got heavy into the drinking and was feeling real good, baby, no, it didn't work at all. I remember working in SF and the churches were giving out needles to the people on drugs to deter disease. Yeah, I remember I worked at a homeless shelter, and they call it harm reduction, I think is what it's called. And so they were like, well, we want to make sure that they at least have access to clean needles. What is y'all's thoughts on that? Like, do you agree that that should be a thing, providing clean needles so that people don't use dirty needles and pass infection and stuff around? Or do like what is your thoughts? I'm very curious because I was always torn. I was like, what? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I get it, but I'm still like, damn. Yeah, many things go through my mind. Many things go through my mind, child. But the impact on the prefrontal cortex, which is located here in the front of the forehead, the front of the head, the addictions impairs the prefrontal cortex. God damn it, I can't talk. I'm fucking thirsty. Somebody DoorDash me some or Instacart me some coconut water to the house. The baby is thirsty. It should have never been a thing. What happened? I wonder what the research says and shows. It makes me kind of want to go back to like what the numbers and things look like prior to them implementing the harm reduction programs, and then after. The money should have been spent on proper rehabilitation. I agree, but then look, this is the thing too. What does proper rehabilitation look like? And then also we know that this system is never really going to truly invest in that in which frees the people, because that's counterproductive to their whole mission. They don't want you to like tap in and get to know yourself and take control of your life. The fuck? It sounds great, and essentially we want people, right? Because we on a different frequency and we get it, right? Excuse me, but society doesn't want that. So it kind of sucks because it puts people at a disadvantage, and that's why it's important for the people in the community to invest and bring our money together, whatever it is, to bring forth the programs that our people need. Excuse me. I remember in 2018, I was working for this nonprofit, and I remember I was so excited. That kind of like jump started my like spiritual awakening. I was always like tapped in, right? But that around that time, that was another major key point one of my I'm not drinking no mores. But with this program, we were required to meditate every time. Like, we would meditate when we had meetings. We would meditate before the meeting. We would meditate after the meeting. When we went, so let me give you a little background. So this I was a facilitator for an African American empowerment program, and we went into the schools within a school district in my area, and we taught them African American empowerment. And so the facilitators and the mentors, we would sit and we would do deep reflection. We would have a reflective question every week that we would talk about, like, maybe like, well, what has been one main challenge that you've had this week? So we really like we're cultivating safe space to be able to open up and feel loved, seen, heard, felt, and witnessed. You know what I'm saying? And we would meditate for like 3 minutes or so. And then when we get into our groups, it was also a requirement with the children that we work with. We would, teach them about meditation, and everybody would sit and just be silent and be within self for a minute. And that really, that like skyrocketed my shit. Because before that, I wasn't really sitting still. I wasn't really quiet. I was always going, just moving. They didn't want HIV and hepatitis to spread. So that was their reason for the harm reduction program, right? But I wonder, did it still spread? I mean, did it really? I mean, because, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But when they had Super Bowl, which I worked multiple Super Bowls in SF, they would round up all the homeless people and put them away. But they were still allowed to do the same things like drugs. Wait, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was gonna say that earlier when the world shut down. Y'all know what I'm talking about. They had these like hotels, you know, sis, over in East Oakland. They were like the quarantine spots, and I knew people that like stayed at these, and so they would. First of all, if you quarantining because you got the vid, you know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't be consuming alcohol and drugs and all the shit. You should probably stop that for a few days, even though it's probably not safe if you consume heavily and for extended periods, because you might have withdrawal symptoms. But you should eat better. Like, there's things that you should be doing to like get your system back online. I was told that they were providing them and like not selling them, just like giving them. Like, they would give them um backwoods. They would give them the little personal shots, cigarettes. I was like, what are they doing to these people? I'm like, I swear they're conducting some type of research or something, because they also fed them. I think you could still order like food to go, but they provided meals too. I don't know. It's just questionable as fuck to me. Like, it's interesting. That's great. Those programs even need to be in schools, showing meditation is a game changer. It is. And so, like, I noticed a major change in the children from when we first started working there to when I stopped working there. Like, them being able to like strengthen their own self-awareness, being more aware of their own feelings, and and being able to openly communicate with an adult that didn't make them feel like, I'm the adult, you're the child, sit down and speak when spoken to. Because we didn't go in there with that energy. We went in there with the energy of like, hey, young queen, hey, sis, hey, brother, young king. You know what I'm saying? Like, we here to learn from y'all, just like y'all here. We here to teach y'all. Y'all here to teach us. Like, it's reciprocal. And they really felt that. They didn't. A lot of them didn't really have that in home or in school. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times they felt so. They were excited to see us coming. They were like, yeah, we want to. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, in this school district, it was a lot of racist things going on, and so they were able to like really come and open up and let us know like what they were experiencing. And I was so grateful that I was chosen to be a facilitator, because I was one of the ones, the main one, because the other facilitator, she couldn't really make it, but we had something called school site support. And so one day of the week, you would go to the school, you would check in with each child's teacher, the counselors, and find out how they're doing, see if there's anything you can do to support that child. And it was cool because I got, the teacher side and the counselor side of what was going on, but then I also got to talk to the students, check in with them, outside of like the group, because with the group, then you like pull them to the side and people like, what they over there talking about? But on school site support, you could tap in with them more on one-on-one. And, it was interesting to learn some of the stuff that was going on. And the kids really like felt heard and seen. Like, I had teachers who tried to like, how do I even want to call it? I'll just say they were just disrespectful, because they felt like, well, I'm the adult. Peace, welcome. They felt like, I'm the adult, so you can just do what I say. And they felt like because we were adults, we would just take their side and we would be like, oh, child, you don't do that. I had to check a couple teachers like, yeah, no, what you're not going to do is that. You're going to show this child some respect, because although they're a child, they're still a being. They're human, okay? They're a young person. And so it was beautiful. I loved it. I love to be able to check a motherfucker and be like, you're not going to talk to my young sister, young brother like that. The fuck? They hated to see my ass coming, okay? Because I hold their ass accountable. I'll be like, what you're not doing is that, you know? And a lot of times in these school systems, they quick to send kids to the office. They like, go to the office, you know, go sit down. And then they like, damn, well, nobody's even hearing me out. Nobody's talking to me about what's going on with me and how I'm feeling, like why I even got to this point. And it just becomes a whole thing. But anywho, let me get back on track, baby, because I done got so sidetracked. Let me check these comments. Yes, the disease is still spread. The disease is still spread because they still ended up sharing needles and sexual deviance. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like it becomes easily more accessible, and then you like, if it's like you chasing the high. That's what if just popped in my head. It feels like you're kind of like chasing the high. Like you have it easily accessible, so you're doing it more. Yeah. She said they would gather them. So when they have like events, because the people are coming, like the Super Bowl, a lot of people or tourists are coming, they would round them up. Where would they put them? In like hotels and stuff? Or it's just interesting how they move. It's just like they ain't got no fucking integrity at all. They were giving them all kind of crazy things, all kind of things. It was crazy. Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Like at the place where they were doing the video, like quarantine shit, when they was giving them people cigarettes and backwoods and alcohol, I was like, hell no. Like I be having to catch myself. Like I know I'm a spiritual being and I know my rank, so I be ready to pull up on their ass. Like, hold on, what the fuck going on? Like, but I have to remind myself, like, you don't need to jump in everything. It's not your business. It's not your place. But I really wanted to, because I'm like, I bet you, you know, they are doing some weird shit. You know what I'm saying? They're doing some weird shit to people. You know, you get people intoxicated. I don't even want to think about it. I remember I went to the ER during that time. I was stressed out. My dad was in the hospital and I was stressed out. And I went to the hospital and it was crazy in there. The way that everybody was quarantined here, and it was just a mess. The energy in there was awful. And I remember they kept asking me, like, are you here by yourself? And I was like, no. Now, mind you, I had actually been dropped off by myself, but my person wasn't that far. But they didn't need to know that, because, like, why the fuck are you even asking me that? And they were like, well, I was like, no. And they were like, well, who's with you? And I was like, my family. Oh, okay, well, where are they? Bitch, what? This shit, that don't even sound right. I was like, this is crazy. And then, yeah, I don't want to go too far left, y'all. I'll go on a whole tangent. But I just start thinking about, it's just crazy because they feel like these are people who won't be missed. These are people who they're just drug addicts. Nobody's gonna miss them. But they're homeless. Nobody's checking for them. We can just run all kind of experiments and shit. Oh, hell, you can do a whole podcast on the benefits of stillness. I'm saying, right? You're gonna have to pull up on. We're gonna have to get on there and talk about it, because they keep us busy and on a rat wheel for a reason. If you can't slow down and regulate yourself, you'll always be underneath that thumb of the powers that be. Exactly, and that's exactly where they want you. Peace, cosmic Phoenix. It's the sound effects for me. Yeah, sis, I had to check that. They got me messed up. You ain't gonna be talking to my babies like that. They be like, Miss Crystal, Sister Crystal. They were like, do y'all always talk like that? Sister this, brother this. Like, yeah, shit, what? And adults innately treat children as lesser beings, and it's all about control. Exactly. Like, I was like, we not doing that. That's one of the things I wanted to break when it came to parenting my children, is we can't use the same tools and child rearing, whatever. I can't even think because I'm thirsty. But we cannot use those same techniques. So no more sit down, speak on a child spoken to, your lesson, because children are exposed to way more nowadays than they were when I was growing up or when our parents were growing up. They have little mini fucking computers in their hand. And I mean, even like, for instance, talked about this the other day, TikTok. I went on TikTok for something. I think I got a notification or something, a video I posted, and then I went to press exit, like back the back button, and I think TikTok is the only fucking app that does this. Somebody will tell me if I'm wrong. That motherfucker took me to another video. And that shit will get, you know, it's like vying for your attention. It got me caught up because I ain't gonna lie, I was like, damn, what's this? Okay, now I'm like scrolling, and I was like, this is a whole plot. They plotting on my fucking attention, my brain. Come on, it's crazy. So it's easy for your child to be in. If I saw something weird on TikTok, because people just post everything nowadays. Hotels or on the pier in those bunkers. There's bunkers on the pier. Sis, we're gonna need to talk. The homeless are used as experiments first. Exactly. I look, Granny, look over them glasses. It got real. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Everyone has a story that led to their addiction. Indeed. Definitely. I can reflect on what led to me drinking and smoking when I did. It's a snowball effect. Yep. So true. Yeah, it's a snowball effect. And that shit is crazy, bro. Like, oh, okay. I still got like 16 slides. So let me bring it back. Thank y'all, though. I appreciate y'all engaging and tapping in with me in the comments. Y'all, that's why I take social media breaks. I'll be on another one in January. For real, very important. Like, I had at one point deleted my social media. I was like, let me delete the app because I don't got the willpower. So I would just go ahead and throw it away. Just throw that whole shit in the trash because I must find myself. And I found myself multiple times after I deleted it, grabbing my phone just randomly. Like, why am I grabbing? We get so used to grabbing our phone and just clicking the apps and looking and scrolling. So I just deleted it and was like, nope, be more intentional. I'm just gonna remove it. So now I would have to do extra shit. Now I gotta open the damn browser, type it in. Ain't nobody doing all that. Okay, I'm going in time out. So you just like I was addicted to people pleasing and sex. Okay, like man, that's another one. Okay, so let me get back because you about to take me and left this. I'm gonna be on timeout too. But I appreciate y'all. It's a good conversation. It's a good conversation. But yeah, so we were talking about the prefrontal cortex and how it impacts how addiction impairs the prefrontal cortex, and that is the brain's that is the part of the brain that's responsible for decision making, impulse control, and weighing consequences. And this makes it harder for individuals to resist cravings or recognize the harm caused by their addiction. Like, think about it makes me think about growing up and seeing certain people who battled addiction and the shit that they did. Like, I had a motherfucker run up on me and it was a family member. Like, he was about to bust my head with like one of those, you know, those little fish bowls. It was like a little fish bowl. It was kind of thick too. It was empty, but he was like, I was like, okay, this nigga crazy. Like, let me leave you the fuck alone. Like, you know, but it wasn't him. He was high as shit. And so it's just like, man, it's kind of scary to think about. But I digress. Yes, come on, slides. Come on, slides. Trying to be all organized in this mug. Okay, I was a little more prepared today. Yesterday, I was like running around, and I forgot to do the slides prior to. And so I just kind of did a few of them, and then I just kind of winged it. But we coming through today, baby. We got hella slides. So I hope y'all hella ready, okay? But yeah, stress and memory circuits are affected by the oblongata. The oblongata and other stress-related regions of the brain become overactive, making individuals more sensitive to stress and emotional triggers. um, we talked about that earlier, being in survival mode and so on and so forth. Like, certain things that probably shouldn't really trigger you like that will trigger you like that. And people be like, damn, like, breathe. Why you, man, cuz it's the whole system that's you fucking my brain up. Like, my brain is really trying, and I tried. I mean, I snapped on you right now, but you don't even know how many other thoughts came into my mind. You don't know how many other actions I wanted to take. I wanted to slap the shit out you, but I settled for saying what I said, okay? It be real. It's hard. Them entities take over people's vessels when they on substances. Man, that's what I was talking about yesterday. Well, I didn't talk about that. I kind of, just one second, y'all. Okay, children. Well, they knocked and then they went away. And one of them was like, she's on live. Like, but yeah, what was I talking about? Oh, I was talking about entities. So I was talking about yesterday how when you're struggling with addiction, like for me, I was, talking about the alcohol. I used to, drink spirits, so I would consume tequila and Hennessy. But a part of like this, I want to stop drinking. We kind of try to trick ourselves and be like, oh, I'm gonna just kind of cut back. And sometimes, you should cut back if that's what's gonna help you to like begin to like completely remove it from your life. So I say trick yourself, and I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for nobody else. I was kind of trying to trick myself, I think. And so I was like, well, I'm just gonna not drink spirits, and I'm gonna consume wine and beer. But baby, the wine, it don't hit like the hen, okay? The hen be going. The tequila will kill you, okay? The wine don't hit the same. So now you're drinking more wine to try to get that same effect. In addition to the fact, that's a whole nother aspect, like you said, with the spirits. It's called spirits for a reason. I remember listening to a video one night. I think it was like a New Year's something. One of my sisters had a recording of us going out one night, and it was more of like an audio, and I was like, who is that man in the background? She said, bitch, that's you. I was like, hell no. I was like a whole dude. She was like, yeah, you did. You did. I was like, see, them entities be creeping up on ya. You gotta be careful, baby. You can't be out here playing. You can't be out here playing. Got to be more careful. But yeah, so addiction also hijacks the hippocampus, which strengthens the memories associated with substance use or behaviors, increasing the likelihood of relapse when exposed to cues or triggers. So in my ebook, I speak on this again about identifying and being aware of our triggers, especially when you're in recovery, because you don't want to, especially when you're just starting out, you don't want to, get triggered, or you want to be aware of your triggers so that way when you start to notice you're being triggered, you can redirect, you know what I'm saying? Or even like memories, like those cues I was talking about in my book, how certain people, places, things, you're gonna have to maybe not be around for a minute in order to really strengthen your recovery journey. And then maybe at some point you'll have enough willpower or whatever it may be to be in those spaces. Like when I first stopped drinking, it was kind of hard being around people who drank, but like now I'm 4 years in, and like I can be around people who are drinking and it doesn't like affect me. I'm not like, oh, that shit look good. Let me smell it. I want to, want to smell it. But at first, when I first stopped drinking, that's kind of how it would be. And I'm surprised like that I didn't like relapse, because it was a lot of drinking around me. And then some people got uncomfortable to the point where they were like, yeah, we're not going to drink around you. Yep, whoever hopped in your vessel was a whole nigga. For real, he was about that shit too, because he was like, yeah, I digress. I'm a changed woman, okay? I don't. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go back to my slides, because we don't speak of Tyrone around here. No. But the hippocampus is a brain structure that plays a role in memory, learning, and spatial awareness, and it's located in the temporal lobe on both the left side and the right side of the brain. Left side is logic, right side is creative. And it made me, when I learned this, it made me think about when I was, I ain't gonna say like, was I in? I think I was going through a period of, no, I was still drinking. I was still drinking at that time. I just remember feeling like I don't have no creativity. I'm not creative. I had took a black poetry class in college, and I remember I was so self-conscious. Like the teacher, of course, teacher's gonna walk around. They're gonna look at your shit. They're gonna look at your paper. What you got going on? I was like, oh my gosh, she's looking at my paper. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want nobody to read my stuff. I felt like I couldn't write nothing. I wasn't creative. I just wasn't tapped in. And it really had a lot to do with the damn substances and stuff I was using. They really disconnected me from myself. And once I began to disconnect from the substances, I learned more about myself. I began tapped in. Like before, I would drink and I would try to laugh and joke and make jokes. My sister would be like, "Girl, you used to not be funny. Now you a whole ass comedian." Like, and I'd be like, "For real?" She was like, "Yeah, I don't know what the hell you was talking about then, but now, okay, you with it." Or like dancing. Before, I used to be offbeat. I was to be offbeat. I was hella self-conscious, and I really want to dance like that. Now, shit, I'll bust a move wherever, and maybe got a little rhythm, maybe got a little flow. Fuck around, find out. You know what I'm saying? But it was weird because I used to think that I needed substances in order to like show up to a party, in order to like show up and show my personality. But I didn't, because that shit was keeping me from my personality. So I'm grateful for the growth and the awareness of that process. You know what I'm saying? Because baby, she got that creative thing again. You know what I'm saying? Nubian-KreativGoddess. She got it. Hey, where the party at? Okay, back. All right, y'all, coming back to center. Because I got slides. And it's already like hour and a half in. Or we about an hour in. I do just want to be respectful of everybody's time. Again, I appreciate everybody for coming. My name is Crystal Bolton, CEO and founder of Nubian-KreativGoddess, and I help women to heal, to strengthen their awareness, their self-awareness, so that they can heal trauma, break generational cycles, and boss up, build on self-sustainability. Period. Welcome to day 2 of the 5-day live series of overcoming addictions. We are talking about the effects of addiction on the brain and the body. We are now moving on from the brain, and we are moving into the heart. Okay, the cardiovascular system. That sacral is loose than a goose. Girl, you know, cut up. We need to link up. It's raining right now, but maybe a nice little walk in the redwoods in the rain would be nice. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Because that one space I wanted to go to and meditate, baby ain't getting on the ground and meditating and doing no yoga and homecoming sessions in the mud. I'm not. I love nature, but not that much. No, I'm not gonna be able to do that. But definitely, you know, get together and dance and shit. We used to have so much fun. We haven't had a full moon or new moon get together in a minute. It's overdue. It's overdue. But yeah, effects of the body. Now we go into the effects of the body. So the cardiovascular system, many substances such as nicotine, alcohol, or stimulants such as cocaine can cause heart rate and can increase heart rate and blood pressure, leading to heart disease or stroke over time. It makes me think back, and I can relate to this personally because, man, I used to smoke hella cigarettes. I remember when I was younger and my mom used to be like, y'all over here smoking and drinking and y'all want to smoke cigarettes and blunts. Y'all doing too much. Y'all need to pick one. Baby, we be trying to do everything. We be trying to do it all. And we don't realize everything is affecting you. It's like when you think about food and we like, oh, you got to watch your sodium intake. Everything has sodium. So you can't just be like, well, I'm not really using salt. Baby, everything has sodium. Just like with this whole stimulant thing, like everything has something, and you have to be mindful of it all. It's a very strategic plan that one needs in order to move appropriately, because your system it's very fragile, baby, and we be out here just tearing it down. Like I remember when I was smoking hella cigarettes, I would light a cigarette. This is me lighting a cigarette. I'm smoking a cigarette because maybe I just finished eating, right? Everybody knows who smokes cigarettes, you smoke after you eat. Then I'll smoke another one. It ain't even been 10 minutes. I didn't went to the bathroom. So TMI, sorry y'all if it's TMI. But you know, go to the bathroom, now you smoking another one. Then I got to the bathroom. This is all maybe the 30, 45 minute window. Now somebody called me. Now I'm smoking another one. Baby, that's a lot of cigarettes. I remember getting to a point where I was like, I need to stop because my head hurt, okay? Like my breath stank. I stink. Like when I stopped smoking, I would stand next to people that were smoking, or I would, you know, see people in passing. I'm like, damn, that's what I smell like. Sidebar. But seriously, in all seriousness, when I stopped smoking, I really began to like realize that I was putting, how much was, I just smoked Newport 100s. Shit, $6 a pack, and that was before they went up to, they did like $10 a pack. I was putting a hit on my head every time I bought a pack of cigarettes. I was killing myself. Like, that's what helped me quit. I was like, baby, you can't. And then my son, my oldest, he had a study in class. I think I'm working on the lungs or something, and they did a study about what smoker lungs look like versus healthy lungs. And he was like, Mom, you and Dad have to stop smoking because you're gonna die. And I was like, the fuck? Like, when your child, like, out of the mouths of babes, like, when your child come in and put that like pressure on you and let you know, like, baby, what you doing, that ain't good. Okay, I was like, I had to rethink it, because again, I want to be here. I have children, you know what I'm saying? I have children I want to be here for. And so I was like, okay, time out, let me rethink this. So then again, it was one of those, I'm not necessarily gonna quit cold turkey, but maybe I'm not gonna smoke a whole pack a day. You know what I'm saying? And I did whatever worked until I was able to fully, you know what I'm saying, walk away from it. And even after I quit, a few more times I started, but then I kind of like, you know, eventually got over it and moved past it. Kids guide us, exactly. Excuse me. And it makes me think back to what Miss Gibson was saying. She was saying how kids are little beings, and people tend to be like, hey, be quiet and this and the third. It's like they don't realize that your children, especially when you have children, they're here to teach you some things. Like you said, they're here to guide you. They're here to teach you some things. And when you telling them to be quiet, you missing all the lessons. So you ain't getting none of them blessings, baby. The hell? We want to think we better than them. And sometimes our kids be older than us spiritually. Shit. Sometimes, not all the times, but we just gotta be mindful of that. So many things to keep in mind. Lungs and heart is where we hold grief. See what I'm saying? Just like the liver is a seat of anger. Yes. Stomach holds worry. Yes. Making those connections are very, very important, especially, like, even if you don't deal with any type of addiction, it's important to know what organ holds what emotion, and what emotion you're holding on to, which is now causing an effect in your body. Because when you experiencing this pain, maybe you're, you know, having heart issues, but when you go to the hospital, they're like, all the tests come back normal. They're not going to be able to tell you nothing, because it's not something that's physiological. It's not a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing. You know what I'm saying? So the spleen holds worry too. Y'all better come through with this knowledge y'all dropping. Fire, fire, flame, flame. Okay? They dropping it. I love it. I appreciate it. It's so important. And think about how all those organs y'all just named hold these different emotions, right? And now you're adding substances to it. So we talked about how nicotine, alcohol, and like cocaine and stuff can increase the heart rate and the blood pressure, leading to heart disease and stroke. Think about things like depressants, like opioids. They may slow the heart rate to dangerously low levels, right? And when we think about the liver and kidney damage in regards to alcohol and drugs like opioids or methamphetamines, it can lead to liver damage. It can lead to things like cirrhosis or fatty liver disease and impaired kidney function due to toxicity. I personally was diagnosed with fatty liver disease in 2019. It might have been 2020, right before the shutdown or whatever. And I had my first fibro scan, and that's when they told me, like, oh yeah, you have fatty liver. I think I had like some kind of scarring, a little bit. It wasn't a lot, but it was a lot of fatty deposits. And of course, I don't even think they asked me about alcohol. But I knew part of it was that. But I was also overweight. I was also eating horribly. And so I knew at that moment, like, yeah, no, I got to make some changes, because if I don't, I'm not going to be here, period. I was an angry bird, and I was addicted to food and sweets. So now that I've been in recovery, I'm mindful of my anger and stress. Yes. Yes. Congratulations on being in recovery and taking the time to be mindful, because baby, that shit is crazy. People be looking at me now like, why am I so calm? It's because I'm not about to harm myself for you. Exactly. Period. And to double back, I think back to when I was we did that surviving vegan detox, right? And I think it was either right before that or it was after that. It might have been after that because I think that's when I became in awareness of that queen and the work she was doing, and she was bringing awareness to like food cravings and what it meant. And I was at that point I realized I was heavily consuming salt. I was angry. Salt is anger. I was so angry, and I noticed that once I started to do the work that was causing the anger, I didn't crave salt as much. Now I began to crave what? I began to crave sugar, sweets, cakes, cookies, pies. Oh my, like your girl was like, I need some loving. I just need a little loving. Like, where I need a hug. Can the bitch get a hug? This motherfucker, no, okay. Let me just go ahead and eat this Twinkie. You know what I'm saying? Because again, that dopamine, I need that hit. Okay, of dopamine, I need to feel good, I need to feel pleasure. And I want to encourage people that if you are listening to this and you find that this resonates with you, there are things that you can do. You don't have to just, okay, let me eat my feelings. You can say things like, I love you to yourself. Like, how many times, like, when I learned that, and it's crazy, like, we should know that. I felt like I should know that already. But when one of my mentors mentioned it to me, he was like, you know, tell yourself, I love myself. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Keep repeating that shit until you run out of breath, and then do it again and again and again, and start to reprogram your subconscious mind. Get in the mirror. Tell yourself you love yourself. You know, do it with people like friends or family. Y'all can, like, you know, go back and forth. I love you. I love myself. I love you. I love myself. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. Hug yourself. Like, oh my gosh, like you were saying, sisters, like I need more hugs and shit. Like, hug, I'm sure you hug yourself, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes we need hugs from other people, but I'm just saying, like, when it comes to that love that we might need, and we tend to go towards alcohol or drugs or food or whatever to like get it, we can also do other things that provide that for ourselves, to ourselves. And I still notice I will run to sweets. Me too, sis. When I need comforting. Like today, I was worried about a relative, so I brought some cake. And now I'm like, let me drink some water. For real, flush this shit out. And you're like, oh, yeah. See, and that's, again, that's that beauty of awareness. Like, you're aware that, okay, I did this because of that. And I am now aware that that was a lot. And so let me flush my system. So, like, we got to give ourselves grace. And I'm not saying you don't, but for anybody who tends to be really hard on themselves, don't. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. It happens. Shit happens. We're human. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And the part of the human experience is you're going to feel the human shit. So feel that shit. Be aware of that shit. And just pivot. Keep pivoting. I like to sit on my shower floor and hug myself. I love that. With the water on or just like sitting there. I love that though. Yes. Girl, your bathroom a whole fucking... I don't know. It felt like I was in the jungle or some shit. It's so warm and... Oh my god, it was just so nice. It was so amazing. Yeah, that's beautiful though. That's beautiful. Let me get back to them slides, girl, because yeah. Okay. Immune system suppression. So chronic substance abuse weakens the immune system, making the body more susceptible to infection and illness. Okay. Respiratory issues, substances like tobacco or inhalants damage the lungs, increasing the risk of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which is COPD, or lung cancer. And opioids can suppress the respiratory system, leading to hypoxia and oxygen deprivation, which can cause permanent brain damage or death. Like, it's crazy once I learned all of this, because I'm like, damn, how many times have I just overly indulged and could have possibly led to this? You know what I'm saying? Neurological damage. Chronic use of certain substances can result in neurotoxicity, leading to memory problems, poor coordination, and cognitive impairments, right? For alcohol, for example, can cause, bear with me because this word is called Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, something like that. A severe brain disorder that is linked to thiamine deficiency, and thiamine is a B vitamin And thiamine helps to turn food into energy, and it keeps the nervous system healthy. So like, damn, okay, so I'm drinking all this alcohol, but now I'm possibly affecting my B vitamins. Like, that's, we don't even think of that. Too much sugar is why people have dementia. Hey, somebody, well, I think that might have been you that sent me a video about that. Yeah, dementia is diabetes of the brain. Wow. See, and they won't, and that's the thing, is like, they won't ever tell us this type of stuff. Like, they won't ever sit us down and say, hey, this is what this is. And because it's, it makes the money. It's so sad. It's so unfortunate. But I'm grateful for the awareness and to be in community with people who know. And we know how to, use our natural herbs and things to heal ourselves, because they won't ever really tell you how to do that shit, because it keeps them in business. If my business runs off of your illness, then why would I ever want you to be well? You know what I'm saying? Crazy. But addiction, hormonal imbalances. Addiction can disrupt the endocrine system, affecting hormones that regulate stress, reproduction, and energy levels. For instance, opioid use can reduce testosterone levels, leading to fatigue, depression, and reduced libido. Chronic pain and physical decline is a thing, right, when you're dealing with addiction, because paradoxically, long-term use of painkillers can lead to something called hyperalgesia, right? Opioid induced. It's opioid induced, and it's a condition where individuals become more sensitive to pain. And it makes me think about somebody I know that it's like, you don't understand, I'm always in pain, I'm always in pain. I'm like, but now that I think of when I learned this, because I just recently learned this about this hyperalgesia, I'm like, damn, but you on hella opioids and hella this and hella painkillers and hella, like, all these different things. And it's, again, the doctors are prescribing this shit, and this person has issue with kidneys, and I'm like, why the fuck is y'all keep giving this person all these damn things that is affecting their body? And again, I know why, because they're in the business of staying in business, so it keeps that person dependent on the system and coming back, and it's unfortunate. But people who experience addiction also, usually, not all the time, but if you're like, I'll say something like, if you're like really, really heavily into addiction and not taking care of yourself, it can lead to malnutrition, poor hygiene, and neglect of your medical conditions. Because you're not going to the hospital, you're thinking about getting checkups and shit. And sugar is the worst drug. Man, now sugar's and everything. That's the thing. Sugar is a whole drug that's legal, but can be more addictive than some of these substances that are illegal. It's crazy. It's crazy. Behavioral and psychological impacts, cravings and withdrawal, right? So we move from the brain to the body, and now we're looking at the mind. Okay, still kind of, oh, excuse me. Wow. Welcome, peace. But yes, cravings and withdrawal. So let's take a look at that. So when the addictive substance or behavior is not available, the body and brain begin to react with withdrawal symptoms. Remember, I was talking about that earlier, how I was driving and I hadn't had a drink when I'm used. My body was so used to drinking, that at this point it was like, girl, whatever was going on in my brain, it was like, where that though? Okay. So those withdrawal symptoms can happen when you don't get that behavior isn't met, or that addictive substance isn't provided. The body will begin to tell you like, hey, it's time, which can include anxiety, irritability. These are some of the withdrawal symptoms, right? Physical pain or seizures. That's why I was worried when I was driving, because I was like, I knew what the feeling was. I knew it was because I hadn't drank and it felt like seizure activity. And I was like, I'm scared because I'm in a car. Like, I don't want to crash. Like, you know what I'm saying? But again, like I was saying earlier, that usually leads you back into more of addiction, because now you're doubling back, and now you need that in order to be okay. And like I was saying yesterday when I was talking about addiction, I really encourage you to tap in to your the resources within your community, in your county or state, wherever you're located, because what works for one might not work for the next. I personally did it cold turkey, but for some people, going cold turkey can literally be a death sentence, depending on the usage, like how much you use, how often you use, how long you've been using. It can really take you out. I did experience when I went cold turkey with my alcohol. I was like, what was it, August 3rd of 2020. I was like, that's out. We're not doing this shit no more. And I want to say by the 8th day or so, and it might have been more closer to 3 or 4, I don't know. I just remember I was sweating. I was like, nigga, this little ass one bedroom apartment. I only moved from the living room to the kitchen, which is like 25 feet, and I'm breaking out in cold sweats. I'm hella irritable. I'm snapping at the kids. What are y'all? And they're like, what the fuck is going on? I mean, they didn't say that, but you know, they're like, what is happening? Like, are you okay? And I just remember sitting down, and this is where awareness comes in. I remember sitting down and being like, oh shit, I am having withdrawal symptoms. My body is detoxing, and this is the irritability. This is the physical. I didn't really have, did I have physical pain? I don't recall maybe having physical pain so much, more so than being irritable and, you know, things like that, and the cold sweats and seizure-like activity. I didn't have any seizures, but I definitely had like some brain activity that had me like, whoa, hold up. But cravings driven by the brain's reward and memory systems are persistent, and they're very difficult to manage. Okay, addiction can also affect emotional dysregulation, because addiction often leads to mood swings like depression or anxiety due to imbalances in the brain chemistry and the stress of addiction related consequences. So again, like I was talking about earlier, when I mentioned I went out, had all these drinks, and then I woke up the next morning and looked at my damn bank account like, oh my god, I spent all the money for rent or PG&E or whatever the fuck the bill was for, whatever it was for. I've already spent it because I was in addiction. I was drinking and lost self-control, made bad decisions, and now I'm sober. So now I'm faced with the reality of my the consequences of my actions. You know what I'm saying? And then that leads to a whole nother cycle, because now you're stressed out, now you're depressed. Then what you gonna do? Don't worry, I'll wait. Your ass is gonna go drink or use whatever substance is your drug of choice, because now you're stressed out. So now it's this continued cycle, right? But social and functional impairments are also a thing, right? Because addiction affects relationships, job performance, and overall quality of life, right? Leading to isolation and further stress, which perpetuates the cycle of addiction. Back to drinking. Exactly. Period. Back to drinking. Back to smoking. Back to snorting some lines. Like, whatever. Shooting some shit up. Because it's a constant cycle. This is talking about how our relationships are affected. Like, think about when you have an addiction and it's affecting your loved ones. You know what I'm saying? Your job performance. I know some people who are able to go to work and they function fine. They are some high functioning people with, I don't want to say addicts, I don't really like to use that word, but they're high functioning, right? And then I know some people who don't function that great, and they missing work. They not going like that, or when they do go, they having issues. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe they need it. You know what I'm saying? And they try not to use when they're at work. And some people are able to use and go to work and be fine. You know what I'm saying? But it's just this continuous perpetual cycle. Period. So in conclusion, just want you to know that just have compassion for yourself, right? Be patient with yourself or your loved one. If you or your loved one are battling addiction, please be patient, because addiction alters the brain function and the body systems, creating a vicious cycle of dependence and harm. Okay, the brain's reward system and stress system, along with decision-making circuits, are disrupted, making it difficult for individuals to quit despite significant negative consequences. Like, this shit is not gonna be good. Something's about to happen after you do this shit, but you do it anyway because your brain is shooting off and it's doing some shit and you can't control it. I knew some high functioning crack. I don't like calling people crackheads until they weren't. Right. Okay. So what you mean until they weren't? What happened? They was high functioning, shit was working, and then it went left. Yes, and rewiring of your brain is difficult. It definitely is. It definitely is. Like, man, that's why I'm like, I have to remind myself to continue to give myself grace every day, because I'm rewiring my subconscious mind from the negative self-talk and all of that. But then the other part of that is the addiction and what that did to the brain function, to the brain chemistry and all the things. Like, it's so many facets to it. They crashed out. Oh my gosh. Right. See what I'm saying? Like, it's not funny. I don't want anybody that sees me laughing to think I'm laughing at you if you are someone who's experienced that. Sometimes we have to laugh, though, to keep from crying, right? Sometimes we got to lighten up the load, and sometimes laughing will, help you get through some things. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you, baby, for real, because I didn't have moments of crash out and all the things. I'm not here to judge you. And eventually was consumed by the substances. Exactly. And it's just unfortunate. And it makes me think, like, what that person or those people really needed. What did they really need? Right? Because some people seek help and they're just not able to quit. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I be in here on bipolar time cussing my own demons out with negative self-talk. Man, for real. It's a real thing. For real, for real. But treatment, it requires a comprehensive approach, including behavioral therapy, medical intervention, and social support to help reverse the changes and support recovery. I mean, here, like, shut the fuck. Exactly. You really have to. You really have to, like, be quiet. Stop talking. You lost all your privileges. Like, you really have to. And like, one of the life coaches I worked with, a few years back, she was the first person that introduced me to that concept. She was like, you can argue with yourself. You know what I'm saying? If your self tells you, like, oh, you stupid, you can't figure it out, you don't never do nothing right, you gonna just let it tell you? You gonna just let yourself tell you that, or you gonna argue it? Because you're not gonna let some random person off the street walk up to you and say that, or it don't have to be a random person. You're not gonna let someone else come and say that to you. So why would you say that to yourself and accept it? That's when I learned to now, okay, I can challenge these thoughts that's coming up because they trying to take me out, and I will not be taken out. You got me messed up. I reclaim my power, okay? I'm powerful beyond measure, okay? I am smart. I ain't stupid, okay? I am powerful. I'm smart. I'm amazing. I love myself. I'm out here doing a damn thing. I'm overcoming challenges every day, every moment, every minute, okay? Like, this is a lot of work, a lot of work. I'm giving myself grace because although it may seem like I'm not getting nowhere, baby, I'm battling hella shit at once, and I'm winning, and I'm winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, we really got to talk to ourselves and talk ourselves through shit. Like, I spent a lot of time waiting for other people to amp me up, like, waiting for somebody else to tell me I'm doing a good job. And we fail to realize that you are with yourself 100% of the time, baby. Amp yourself up. Amp yourself up. Love on yourself. Let yourself know that you love you. And then it's not just a word, it's an action. So, not just say it, do it. What is something you can do today to show you love yourself? To whom much is given, much is required. Exactly. Exactly, man. It's a lot, and it can be a lot, but just be patient, taking one moment at a time, period, because maybe it ain't over for you. As long as you got breath in your body, you can always change and shift some shit. So I just want to thank you all so much for joining. I appreciate the engagements, the shares, and a big thank you for choosing to be here, because you could have been anywhere else. Y'all could have been anywhere else on this good Saturday, but you chose to be here. So much gratitude and appreciation for you. If you like to work with, if you're watching this now, or if you are watching the replay, if you would like to work with me, book a consultation. Let's chat about it. Let's talk and see what that looks like, and how I can best support you if we're a good fit. You can click the link in the bio and check that out. You can also check out our podcast, You Ain't Gotta Lie to Thrive, now streaming on Spotify, okay? If you or someone you know is battling addiction, you can grab my ebook, The Freedom Express, an 8-step guide to kicking addiction to the curb. The link is in my bio, and it pairs really well with whatever treatment plan you decide, whether that's, like a dual diagnosis kind of thing where you're getting the mental health aspect and the drug aspect. A good journal, a good book goes a long way, okay? So the workbook, make sure you grab the bundle, okay? Because I have a workbook there that is amazing. It's a great pair to go with it because there are multiple assessments within the book, and you'll have aha moments and be creating plans and schedules, because as you're taking your power back and you're rewiring your brain and all the things, it is a whole thing. Okay, it's a whole thing, and you want to keep everything organized and in one place, and this workbook really does that for you. And I want you to really just take your time with it and move at your own pace. If you find one place that kind of keeps you there for a little bit longer, it's okay. Honor that. Take your time with it. I love you too. Love you too, sis. We definitely got to get together soon. I appreciate you so much for spending time with me and engaging. It's been hella dope. I was so kind of like not feeling well earlier, just kind of drained a little bit, but baby is feeling real good right now. Okay. I just want to leave you all with this. Okay. This beautiful affirmation. I am stronger than my struggles, and each day I choose freedom, health, and peace. My past does not define me, and I am capable of creating a future filled with purpose and joy. I release what no longer serves me, and I embrace the power within me to heal, grow, and thrive. Okay, this concludes day 2. Thanks for joining, and have a great rest of your day. And we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, here on IG, 3:30 p.m. PST, 6:30 EST. Peace. I am stronger than my struggles. I love that. Thank you so much for joining. I love you. Until next time.